Turn on your tap right now. Cold water, hot water, filtered, flavored, bottled, it's just there. It's always there. Now take all of it away. Every tap, every pipe, every reservoir. The sky hasn't rained in 8 months. The river you drank from last year is cracked mud now. The nearest water is 3 days' walk away, and something else is already drinking it. The temperature is 115 degrees. That is not a hypothetical. That was life for your ancestors. Not once, not in some unusual tragedy, but over and over again for hundreds of thousands of years, while the continent that built them tried to dry them out of existence. And at least once, it nearly worked. This is how ancient humans survived drought, and it's one of the closest calls our species ever had. Let's be honest about what they were facing, because drought sounds like a bad summer. This was nothing like that. Around 70,000 years ago, a supervolcano in Indonesia called Toba erupted with a force so massive it blocked the sun for years. The volcanic winter that followed triggered one of the worst droughts in African history. Rivers dried up, forests shrank to nothing, food disappeared. Scientists studying human DNA found something disturbing. We have almost no genetic diversity compared to other species. Chimpanzees living in one single forest have more genetic variation than all 8 billion people alive today. That's the fingerprint of a near extinction. Geneticists estimate the entire human population may have crashed to somewhere between 3,000 and 10,000 people, not on one continent, on the whole planet. Everyone alive today descended from those few thousand survivors. You didn't just narrowly make it through a drought, you narrowly made it out of existence. So how did they pull it off? The first answer sounds too simple. They moved. Humans are walkers, not climbers, not swimmers, not sprinters, walkers. When water disappeared in one place, they followed it somewhere else. But here's what makes this remarkable. They didn't wander randomly. They remembered. Studies of the San Bushmen in the Kalahari show that individuals can navigate hundreds of kilometers from memory, recalling seasonal water sources visited years before. That knowledge was their most valuable survival tool. Not a weapon, not a shelter, a mental map of where water would be, passed down from parent to child across hundreds of generations. One wrong memory and you died. The pressure to remember correctly was absolute. When they couldn't move to water, they carried it. And this is where archaeology gives us something remarkable. In South Africa, researchers found ostrich eggshells dating back 60,000 years with small holes deliberately drilled through them, hundreds of them. Not food, canteens. An ostrich egg holds about a liter of water, seals tight, and is nearly impossible to crush. Early humans filled them, buried them along known travel routes, and dug them up weeks later when they needed them. A hidden water network stretched across hundreds of kilometers of desert. They had infrastructure, just not the kind you can see from above. When there was no water to carry, they read the land for it. The tsama melon, a wild watermelon that grows in the Kalahari, holds so much water you can survive on it for days. The San knew exactly where it grew, when it ripened, and how deep to dig to find roots storing moisture underground even when everything above the surface looked dead. Fever trees grow near underground water. Certain birds flock toward it. Animal tracks converge on it. The land itself was a map, if you knew how to read it. And over thousands of years, they learned every word. Here's the part that actually saved them. Around 195,000 years ago, East Africa entered one of its worst dry periods on record. The interior became nearly uninhabitable, and the archaeological record shows something striking. Humans retreated to the coasts. At a site called Pinnacle Point in South Africa, researchers found evidence of people living in cliff caves by the ocean 164,000 years ago, eating shellfish, harvesting food from tidal pools, surviving off the ocean while the land dried out around them. The coast was the backup plan. The ocean offered food, moisture through shellfish, and temperature stability that the interior couldn't. They didn't survive by being the toughest, they survived by knowing where to run before the drought cornered them. And they ran together. The San Bushmen had a system called Hoxero, a network of gift exchange across hundreds of kilometers that built bonds with neighboring groups. You gave someone a gift, not because you needed anything now, but because someday your water would run out and you'd need to cross into their territory without being killed. The gift was an insurance policy, diplomacy as survival strategy. A bead necklace given today could be the reason your grandchildren get to drink tomorrow. Here's what gets me. We treat water like background noise. It's just there. It runs when we tell it to. But your ancestors built entire social systems, memory networks, migration routes, and long-distance alliances around one question: where is the water? They never stopped asking it because the one time they stopped asking, people died. We didn't survive drought by being the strongest animal or the fastest or the most physically built for the heat. We survived by being smarter, more social, and more prepared than anything the desert could throw at us. The same combination that saved us from every other thing that tried to kill us.